Good evening, Mid-Missouri. Welcome back to Making a Difference, January 7th, 2014. We made it this far, gentlemen. Tonight, our guests are Gabe Wilkerson, the president, and the second dude in charge, the second guy in charge, Chris Macy, with
Columbia Disc Golf Club.
there you go, guys. I think that is so awesome what you guys are doing. Columbia Disc Golf. You know, I've seen you playing over in Oakland. Now, do you still play in that area? I mean, do they still have the course set up there?
There's 3 courses in town. There's actually 2 at Oakland. There's one kind of on the top of the hill and then one back in the woods. There's also one out at Indian Hills Park,
Okay.
out kind of Clark Lane,
Sure.
out that direction,
Yeah.
Ballinger. So there's 3 in town currently, and we're working with the Parks Department now to hopefully develop another new course, a 4th one in town.
Gabe, you're the president. You are the main man. How big's your organization?
Right now, this year so far, we have I think just over 50 members in town. That's a low number for us because the new season hasn't really started yet. So once spring and summer kicks around and the students come back from holiday break, it'll close to double. So we'll have around 100 members here in town.
That is so neat. Chris, how long have you been doing disc golf?
I started playing disc golf in 1999.
Quite a while.
Took a little break, moved to Rolla for a little bit, and came back. But basically, been playing pretty solid since then.
Okay, now help me out here, guys. Now I'm a novice. I'm not very good at golf. I consider myself a severe hacker.
That's why I play disc golf.
So that's why you've gone to disc golf.
Yeah.
Okay, so now do you have slices and hooks? Come on, I guess you can bend this frisbee any way you can.
The rules are pretty similar to ball golf, right? Get the disc into the basket in the fewest number of shots. And the disc is basically like an airplane wing. So the way that it's shaped will make it fly differently, different speeds, different directions, different angles.
Now
so
we're talking physics.
absolutely. So
Wow.
aerodynamics, you name it. So there's, we have
And-
an infinite number of discs that we all carry that do different things.
Yeah, and like ball golf, you've got putters, drivers, mid-range, the whole works.
Get out of here.
Oh, yeah, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Legit.
And you're allowed to change disc in the middle of
yeah,
the game?
The average serious player probably carries between, serious as a game in the park gets, carries between probably 10 and 18 discs at a time that you use throughout
This
the game.
is amazing. And can people come out and just watch?
Yeah, absolutely. We encourage folks to come out. All the courses currently in town are in multi-use parks, so, we're respectful of the people on the walking trails and on the fitness equipment and at the tennis courts and such. We have people oftentimes at our tournaments that'll come out and just, walk around, see what people are doing, et cetera.
January 26th, you've got a pretty major event coming up. What is it, guys?
January 26th is our 28th annual Ice Bowl. It's an event that's been started here in Columbia, and it's an event that raises money for charity. Used to be dedicated strictly to money to solve hunger problems. Now the charities are very various around the world.
28th. That's huge. How long is your organization? How long has the club been in place?
Been here for 30 years, so this would have started about 2 years after the club formed. And like Gabe mentioned, it's basically gone from starting in Columbia to all over the country and internationally now.
Oh, you took my thunder. I was going to bring the international thing up, Chris. That's pretty amazing, really, when you think about it. Something like frisbee golf or disc golf going into international. Now, it's just not frisbee golf, though. It's this golf bowl, this whole golf bowl concept that's gone international, or the sport itself?
Both. The sport's very widely played around the world, but this particular event that we're proud of, the Ice Bowl, originated here with a couple guys. Rick Rothstein at the time was one of the original members of our club that still coordinates this whole event. Now he lives in a different part of Missouri, I believe.
Yep, Kansas City.
Kansas City. So he's the one that kind of got this started as just a way to cure some wintertime boredom that you usually didn't spend time outside in the parks during. But it's really been cultivated and grown by him and some other members of our club into this, definitely all across the United States and other countries, Canada, Finland, those countries certainly reported last year, as a way just to make awareness not only for the sport, but to raise funds for charities. Our particular charity that we play for here in town is the Food Bank of Central and Northeast Missouri.
Great cause. Great cause. Now you raise money. How can people make donations to you, or how do you go about raising money for the food bank?
Well, the first and easiest way is to play in the tournament and
Okay.
to register. It's $15 for the registration fee, but people can make checks payable to CDGC and give them to any of the club officers. Look at the website, cdgc.org, and contact any of the club officers, and we'd be happy to help anybody that wants to make a donation.
Okay.
We also accept food. That's actually part of what we're doing at the tournament, is to accept canned goods, and those will also go to the food bank as well. So food or cash donations.
Where's the tournament going to be?
It's going to be at Albert Oakland Park.
Okay.
We usually have signups between like 8 and 9:30 in the morning. It's a 2-round tournament, so we play 2 rounds of 18 holes, starting around 10 o'clock. So if anybody wants to come by Oakland Park, they can bring cash donations, they can bring food donations, they can hang out and watch some disc golf also.
Can they play?
Absolutely.
I
We
mean,
encourage
come
beginners.
on, guys.
We have,
We've got to grow the sport.
Yeah, they
it's
can play.
international, though.
we have many divisions, right? So just like any competitive sport, there's a professional and an advanced and intermediate, a recreational and a novice.
Do you have a hacker
We could
category?
make one just for you if you needed it.
That's
We
where
can
I
set
would
one
need
up,
to be, is
and
the
you-
hacker category.
I don't know if anyone else would willingly go into it, so you probably have a good chance at winning it all
I
by
think you'd
yourself.
probably be
You might get first
surprised.
place in that-
I
in
know
that
a lot of hackers. I could fill up a hacker bracket. I really could. You know, you haven't seen my golf swing. It's pretty bad.
So can I tell a little more about the Ice Bowl?
Yes.
Okay. So last year there was 241 events.
Okay.
So when we say it's a big event, it is literally one of the biggest that disc golf has. Almost 14,000 disc golfers, raised over $311,000 cash, and over 64,000 pounds of food.
Now, is that your system-wide?
System-wide throughout,
Okay.
right. And we would love to be one of the teams or one of the cities that gets put on the leaderboard list of donations. So
That's
we
saying
appreciate all the
something.
help. And,
That's saying something. Columbia, Missouri should lead this. This is where it started. So how are you gonna make that happen, Mr. President? Come on.
that's a lot of pressure.
It is a lot of pressure.
But what we try to do is we're very happy to be here. First off, talking to you and to whoever's watching. We try to have a good Facebook campaign,
There you go.
Social media campaign to make people aware of the event. We'll be putting some flyers up around town at the various sporting goods stores to encourage folks that are there for whether it's disc golf goods or whatever other recreational activity they have to make them aware of this event. Those are our main outlets, our main outreach.
With your backgrounds in IT, that shouldn't be a problem. You should definitely have a leg up on the social media.
We should, yes.
Okay. What else can we do to bring more people to you? I mean, is it an awareness thing about disc golf? How can people get involved and spread the word?
Well, disc golf is a growing sport, so a lot of more people are getting into it than used to be. When the Ice Bowl first started in 1987, I think there were less than 200 courses across the country, and now we've got 3,500, 4,000 courses across the country. So the awareness is kind of growing, but anything we can do to get a message out on this program, obviously Facebook and those kind of campaigns, anything we can do to kind of get the word out is helpful.
And also, we Columbia Disc Golf Club, we partner with another group in town called the Disc Golf Boosters, who are kind of separate but the same as us. And their main outreach and their main goal is to bring disc golf to the schools. So they're working closely with the Columbia Public Schools to make a disc golf curriculum to help young people to get out and enjoy our parks more, particularly on the north side of town where these things are. And we donate discs to them. So if anyone has children of school age, we encourage them to ask their educators about what the events might be they could participate in. And we also encourage folks, we work closely also with the Tree Keepers, the organization here in town that does volunteer work in the parks. So if anyone's interested in getting out and participating with the disc golfers, that's a great place to start without having to actually be involved in the...
What a great way to get outside.
Yeah.
Throw a disc around, and practice makes perfect.
I was going to throw out there the reason that this date it was picked was 28 years ago. There's always that week, that bye week, or not bye week, but no football week. When you have the championship games, and then you have a break, and then you have the Super Bowl. And so this was actually started because people didn't have football to watch on those weekends. So that's another good thing that, hey, there's no football to watch on that weekend, so come on out.
Get out of the house.
You know, but that's the timing. That's why we started this.
That's good.
The timing. So you got nothing to do with the
I
Super
hope
Bowl?
there's
Come on out.
ice on the ground for you.
I hope
So
there's
do I,
ice. I hope there's
honestly.
snow. I hope there's sleet.
Our motto with the Ice Bowl is no wimps, no whiners. So
You took my thunder again.
You know, I saw you looking down at your notes, and I was like, I'm not going
telling
to
you,
let
I
him
was
say
getting ready
it
to throw
first.
that one out here. I like that. No wimps, no
Right,
whiners.
so no matter what the conditions are, rain, hail, snow, ice, we'll be there. We'll be collecting money. We'll
January
be collecting
26th
goods.
in mid-Missouri, you don't know what's going to happen.
never know.
It's been pleasant some years, but others it hasn't. So we'll take whatever it is, and we'll keep on our mission.
Now, can anyone go out to Albert Oakland Park and throw a Frisbee around, go through the course when no one's around? I mean,
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Now, I'll just say one of the differences between ball golf and disc golf is, it's on Columbia Park's property basically. So you're not going to be paying any greens fees to go out and play. So if you want to, get a couple discs, use discs or whatever, you can come out and play. There's no cost to it at all.
what a great way to spend an afternoon. Go out with the kids, walk
Yeah.
through the park, throw a Frisbee around. I mean, what a great way to just
If
hang out.
If anybody wants to make their first time playing the Ice Bowl, we will have people there that I'm sure have all kinds of Frisbees and discs that will donate, loan out, give out, whatever, if they just want to participate.
They want
be
to play.
involved.
Registration fee is
$15.
$15.
And 100% of the proceeds after, we do have trophies for people that place in the divisions. 100% of the proceeds, though, go to the food bank.
Wow. Or food goods.
Or whatever non-perishables they bring.
Okay.
Yeah, on our flyer and the website, we also list the recommended donations from the food bank, the things that are
Okay. Gabe, give us that website one more time.
www.cdgc.org.
Is there a telephone number?
The officers are listed on the contact information, so it's just, but really the cdgc.org, which stands for Columbia Disc Golf Club, and then of course we have a Facebook page as well. That's Columbia Disc Golf Club, all spelled out.
January 26th, 2014. Gentlemen,
Thanks,
thank
Marco.
you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. It'll be fun.
I hope so.
Welcome back, Mid-Missouri, to Making a Difference. Our guests now are with the University of Missouri Extension Office, Larry Dickerson, Regional Community Development Specialist, and Steve Janetta. Steve, you're a State Community Development Specialist, right? Did I get that right?
You got
Yes,
that right?
correct.
Yeah.
Community development. Now, that's kind of a broad term, but how cool. It just sounds like you're just really important guys.
No, not really.
Well, now, wait a minute.
We get to work with a lot of
Tonight,
really
you're
important people.
extremely important. So explain to us what, as community specialists with the University of Missouri Extension Office, you guys do.
Well, as a regional specialist, I work in probably 5 or 6, 7 major areas. One's community development, which could be anything, strategic
Sure.
planning, working on infrastructure, whatever community thinks
What a
is
broad
their needs.
term, but-
Then economic development, more local asset-based economic development than traditional, industrial recruitment. We do organizational development, work with organizations on development and effectiveness, do leadership development, lots of leadership. We have several programs that Steve works with. We do emergency management. We're part of the state emergency management
Out of
program.
FEMA or SEMA?
The state, no, yeah, we're part of this. We have a contract we have a government, a governorial, an agreement from the
Okay.
governor that we do part of that. Do a lot of regional development, work people together regionally. I specifically do a lot of tourism and heritage tourism and the arts. So a variety of different things that I do.
Well, multitude of hats.
Well, we're generalists. I go real broad, but how deep is the real question sometimes.
Okay. Steve,
Well, I work statewide, so some of it is coordinating some of the programs that we do locally across the state. Like Larry does a lot of work with nonprofits. We have regional specialists that are doing other work with nonprofits around the state, so we kind of coordinate some of that. I do that work, a lot of work with community planning, whether it's with an organization or a community-wide kind of planning, like Columbia's comprehensive plan. We helped with some of that. We have a category of programs called Building Inclusive Communities, where it's really kind of helping communities deal with change. Like a lot of my work lately has been focused on understanding, so there's some research pieces, what's happening in communities with immigrants and newcomers moving into places, primarily rural places. And then developing kind of programming, to help communities think about how they respond, how they integrate newcomers. Locally, I've worked with, in that whole area with the Centro Latino here in Colombia, and we've developed a Promotores de Salud program where they're helping people, immigrants, access healthcare and understand how to better take care of some of their own healthcare issues. So.
And we also develop resources for communities. Steve and I were co-authors with others on a Creating Healthy Community book, which is really a resource to help communities. We're working on the future on a healthy organization book to have organizations put together. Steve has, talked about your fundamental.
I did a workbook, about 15 years ago on how to set up a nonprofit in Missouri, and we've rewritten it about 5 times since then. But it's been a real good resource for community groups and folks that are thinking about taking their organization and making it formal, both in the state of Missouri and in the federal government. It's not the kind of thing anybody wants to do more than once. Yeah. So we just kind of put it.
You talking about
the steps of how to
becoming a 501 or
how to
not
become a 501c3.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Well, since then, the number of nonprofits have doubled in Missouri, so maybe that had a
Yeah, Steve's book's really helpful.
It was all that workbook, Steve.
Workbook,
and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, I mean, anytime you talk about community partnerships, community development, that's something that just should perk everyone's ears. You bring people together. Now, in the next coming year or so, what do you see as key issues facing communities throughout Missouri, but primarily rural communities in your areas? What's the most pressing issue that you see as a state coordinator?
Well, one of the things I think is one of the more immediate things is how do rural communities adjust and manage the healthcare changes as related to the American, related to the Obamacare law. Because there's a lot of changes, not just in terms of how people access it themselves, but then also in terms of how services are being provided as a result of some of the changes, not just in that, but in other legislation.
So you think the Affordable Care Act will have that much of an impact on the way our communities and counties
particularly
do
in terms
business?
of how they think about health care. A lot of rural areas don't really don't have health care systems per se. If you talk, I did one little project where we talked about 35 or 40 people about how they access health care, and they all had very different plans. In this town of maybe 1,500 people. So there isn't a local system. It's more about how do people put together their plans to get the access to resources they need. Some are better at it than others. And so in a rural area, when you tinker with the resources that are available or how you access them, there's a lot of education that has to go into play in terms of how to make how to make those resources available to folks. And so there's a lot of that going on now.
Yeah.
Okay, Larry, what do you see as a key issue facing
Several things.
communities?
Several things. One that we're actually working on right now is economic development. Extension really just recently reorganized, and now Boone County is in the Northeast region, which is 20 counties, pretty much. And so I've tried to learn about my new region, and one of the big ones is economic development. We're actually doing a program February 11th called Arts and Heritage Tourism and Economic Development. So we don't look at the big 100% solutions. Mainly it's trying, let's try 5 and 10% solutions and build a solid economic base. And so that's one thing. The other, and then actually 2 of my colleagues that are regional specialists and I, we have a thing called Build Board, which is a Moodle, which is going to be an online course that has 5 modules and 17 lesson plans to help local rural boards be effective and efficient and learn what their roles and the things they have to do, from building the board to the legalities and how you handle money. And Steve has worked with us on that a lot too, on nonprofit effectiveness. And that's a big one. I think the third one that I see is really managing change for communities.
It's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
Change is tough.
Another one that's really affecting, a couple that are really affecting particularly rural places is the changing population, newcomers moving in.
When
and
you say
aging.
changing population, a dynamic such as?
Yeah,
in
well,
what
actually, you have a lot of
category?
rural places becoming a lot more diverse than they've ever been before. And that creates a lot of dynamics, change dynamics in the community, from decision-making, from how you educate people, to how you access resources, to how you deal with sometimes even simple issues like how do you get your kids enrolled in school if you don't know the language, if you don't know the customs locally. It can be a real challenge. And so a lot of the rural places don't have many resources to help new families adjust to being where they're moving into.
Change is tough.
And getting older, too, is the other big issue that's affecting.
North Missouri is really
It's
aged.
affecting our labor supply. And so that's why we see a lot of newcomers moving in. In the Midwest, there's 1 million fewer people of working age now than there were 10 years ago. And in the next 10 years, there'll probably be 1 million fewer less than there are now. And so communities are adjusting to those kinds of realities. And how do they organize? How do they plan? How do they think about who they're going to be in the next 5, 10 years so that they're best positioned to deal with some of those changes?
And part of that is really analyzing what's gone in the, I mean, rural Missouri, especially North Missouri, with the agricultural, not bust, but the change in how agricultural is done has had a big difference on local businesses. And,
That's a
and-
changing dynamic all to itself, I would think.
Yeah, and so working with communities, and I have my quotes, but I do a lot of community change stuff with communities and organizations, and Albert Einstein said the only constant in the universe is change. Right. But Mark Twain said the only person that likes change is a baby with a messy diaper. So how do you reconcile those two things? And it's really difficult in communities.
Don't ask me why I was even looking at this number, but rural Missouri, counties in rural Missouri, their populations, declining population basis. And for some reason, I have no idea why I was even looking at this number across the board, but it was kind of scary to see that the population decline in rural counties throughout the state.
It really varies a lot. I mean, if you're down in southwest Missouri, a lot of the rural counties are increasing in population. Southeast
Northeast,
as well.
northern Missouri.
Northeast, the northern part, you're seeing
it's scary.
flat or declining populations, and they're also getting much older. So, and in the southeast and the southwest, they're changing, becoming more Latin or Asian. Folks from other parts of the country moving into places that they've never really seen that before.
A growing
It's a real
migrant
change.
population. Let's bring it back central Missouri to Columbia area. What are some key issues that we're facing right in this area in Boone County, Missouri?
Well, one is the fiscal situation, having the funds to fund both the county and the city government because of the economy breaks. The other is really how the economy is going to evolve in Columbia. We're involved in Columbia Imagined, and the plethora of student housing and how that's changed the dynamic of the community.
Managing growth is a big issue.
Yeah, managing change. As you heard in your previous segment on this, jobs for all sectors of the population is another big one. The planning for, I'm working with the Consolidated Plan. I've worked with Office of Neighborhood Services. We worked with Columbia Imagined. I've worked with the city on how to implement the visioning, all the different planning and making sure that that's all coordinated with the city, which they're really trying to do. They're working very hard on that. So just managing the growth in a way and funding it. You saw what the city manager said is a moratorium on development downtown because of the infrastructure. So
Getting people involved is another challenge to it as well, because people want things to work, but they have perspectives on transportation. We're working on that. There's a busing issue that's going on now, violence, increase in violence here, the cost of education, a variety of things. But because we're growing quickly, it becomes more difficult to keep track of who the people are that really should be involved in these kinds of things. And you don't want to miss out on different segments of the population that really have a perspective on things.
There are decision makers throughout Boone County.
Yes.
What about the citizens? How can they have any input into this process with you guys?
Well, there's a lot of ways. I mean, there's a lot of boards and commissions, and I've worked for years, Joanne Adams and I, with the city on the Neighborhood Leadership Program.
Great.
And several of our graduates from that program have gone to serve on boards and commissions. Some have gone to the city council. Some have gone to planning and zoning. We had one that's really working with the city on zoning in their local neighborhood. That's a local neighborhood association president. And so there's a lot of different ways to get engaged both with the city and the county on the commissions. The other, now, we just did, Joanne and I, a session with the Tenants Association, 10 sessions on capacity building. How do you have effective tenants associations? How do you, effectively communicate with the housing authority? It's the housing authority sponsored and have us did that. So there's a lot of different ways for people to get engaged.
Well, then we need to have another session and get more people engaged. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, thank you.
Steve, thank you so much. Larry, it's been a pleasure. University of Missouri Extension Office, thank you, gentlemen. We need to do more on this.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.